We're running out of time, Anubarak. How far are we from the exit?
Not far. We have entered the Upper Kingdom. The exit should lead us to the base of the glacier itself. However, there are still hidden traps and pitfalls to account for.
Take cover!
Arthas!
The entire passage collapsed. There's no time to dig through this. I'll have to move quickly and find my own way out. Hopefully Anubarak and the others survived. Ah, at last. For the Lich King. I'll be singed if I get too close to those flames. Finally. I'll need this gold for when I reach the glacier. Ah, at last. This is more like it. More of the Nerubians' blasted mechanisms. I'll have to time this perfectly. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. Another quake? This is more like it. Your pain shall be legendary. Finally. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Finally. Now, Frostmourne. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Ah, at last. Finally. Ah, at last. Your pain shall be legendary. I'll make sure you suffer. This is more like it. Faithless coward. Speak, fool. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Finally. Now, Frostmourne. For the Lich King. Faithless coward. Your pain shall be legendary. I'll make sure you suffer. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Finally. I must find a way across this strange obstacle. Ah, at at last. Finally. This is more like it. Your pain shall be legendary. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally. At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it.
Inventory is full.
Finally. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. At last. I'll make sure you suffer. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. At last. This is more like it. Finally. At last. Finally. This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. At last. This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. Finally. At last. Anubarak, you made it.
I see now why the Lich King chose you as his champion, Death Knight. Few men could have survived this labyrinth alone.
Finally. This is more like it.
Another earthquake. We must hurry, Death Knight.
Frost, something's breaking through.
Defensive positions.
I have heard the summons.
At last. Finally. Now, Frostmourne.
Speak.
At last.
I serve only the frozen throne.
For the Lich King. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like
We're
it.
running out of time. We must find the exit. They're blocking the way to the exit. We'll have to fight our way through them to reach it. Speak.
Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers.
Now quickly, head through that door. The exit to the surface lies just beyond.
It'll be good to see the sun again.
Remember, Illidan and the true battle still await us in the world above. Hopefully our trek through the Dark Earth bought us the precious time we needed.